got a general manager! And it's not the one you're thinking of. Rather, it's Bill Guerin, which was definitely not the first choice that was on people's mind when Fenton was fired about a month ago. Bill Guerin was the assistant general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he has been that since 2014. That is not the worst era to be in, but there is a lot of mixed reactions to this news, especially from Pittsburgh fans, oddly enough. Some Pittsburgh fans seem to believe that he has been one of the key parts in the Jack Johnson trade, in the Goodbranson trade. Those trades were not good. If anybody needs a reminder of what Jack Johnson looks like, just look at Evolving Hockey and you'll see this. Oh dear God, take it away, please. That just, no, horrendous. Yeah, if you are overseeing that, not great. However, he did also get 2 rings out of his tender as assistant general manager. So I hope we get the good kind of him rather than the bad part of him. He's been under the tutelage of James Rutherford, who is right now not a hot name to be, but 2 years ago he was probably the hottest name in general management. Shows how fast the NHL can flip on a switch, eh? 2 times cup winner, back-to-back. James Rutherford was highly praised. Now they seem to have dipped in form due to a bit of a few really big miscalls. Jack Johnson for one, trading to get Ryan Reed for first round pick. Some of those trades were for grit, which seems to be what people think that is the case with Bill Guerin. He likes grit. That is kind of the mantra that I heard. He likes grit. People have said that really negatively. While skill is more important than grit, I do admit that. I don't see grit necessarily as a bad trade. It isn't necessarily bad to be able to be gritty. As long as you don't overpay for your grit on your team, it's not a bad thing to have a third liner who is able to go to the corner, who is more than able to take the fight if need be to protect your teammates. Those players are definitely needed if you want to make it far in the playoffs. You need grit. Some of the times we've been knocked out has been because we lacked somebody who could stand on their own, who could stand up to the violence of a playoff. I feel like we got that already, so I don't feel like he needs to get more. What the Minnesota Wild need is fast, skilled forwards. And when you look at his most important objective, grab Kirill Kaprizov. Go to Russia, go to Moscow, and do not come back without an agreement with Kaprizov that he joins on the 1st of May 2020. There's an agreement that if we're in the playoff, he comes to Minnesota. If he doesn't, then you find a way to get a contract with him on the 1st of June. That is when you get it signed. You don't do it the day after. Don't do it the day after that either. Do it the first time of asking that you have a chance to sign him. You sign Kirill Kaprizov to a whatever the term will be contract. Pay the man if you have to with signing bonuses. Get him over. Bill, that's your first objective. Do that. Second objective, sign Joel Eriksson-Ek and Fiala. You can trade those around if you want. Just make sure you do one of them really fast so you can do the other one as well. These are your objectives for the offseason for now, because the team is there. You can't really add too much to it unless you want to try and potentially get a rental for the first part of the season, or you get a rental for the season. You can't go more than a year with these guys. You can't go overextending. Go for 1 year maybe for Pommel just to get some depth. That's what you can do else. That's his objectives for this offseason. And then the season start, he has to then figure out roster moves. Don't try to overstate your welcome. If you can't see you aren't in a playoff hunt, find a way to rebuild. Find a way to trade off when you have to. Find a way to get some picks back. Find a way to draft well, because the Minnesota Wild's problem for the majority of the last decade has been drafting. That's an area he has to be good at. And I feel like he is good at developing. We've seen it with a few players from his time. He was a development coach from 2011 to 2014. He was a development coach. He went to the AHL in 2017. So he knows how to kind of look at these young players, try and develop them. People will now try to say, oh, the AHL team sucked when he took over as general manager. Counterpoint, they just lost half their good players because they were called up to the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is what you want. You don't necessarily want your AHL team stacked every single year. that is not necessarily progressive, because that means that you have a lot of talent who has AHL talent, which is good, but you don't have those who get back into the NHL, who gets up there. So he was kind of stacked against him. He went down with the AHL team in Pittsburgh, which, okay, that's natural, that will happen, but apparently people try to use it against him, saying he's a bad general manager. I don't think that's the case. I think what he can do is good. I just think he didn't have time to show it, really, in the AHL. He had him for 2 years where, sadly, the prospect pool, due to the Pittsburgh Penguins being so good, wasn't great. He won't have a good prospect pool coming in, but I think he has a better one than he had at Pittsburgh. So if he can manage the team well, if he can motivate, which is one of the traits that always makes him better than Fenton by a mile, is that he's a better motivator of his staff, of the playoffs, of the analytics. By the way, important fact, that's one of the ways he's been described, as an analytics type of guy, which I like. I like having an analytics type of guy. He's the guy who would stay up late extra to watch the player, to scout him properly, to make sure that the trades were good, which, again, already puts him above Fenton. No more said about the Nino Ryder trade, please. We don't need a repeat of that. All in all, we're going on an adventure with Bill. That might be the worst joke I have ever made on this channel, and there's a lot of them. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't want to say anything because he doesn't have any kind of prior experience with general managing. He has been an assistant general manager in a similar way that Fenton was, and it's difficult to say anything about assistant general managers, even if they look good on paper. You can't say too much about it. He looks good for now. Let's see how I feel about it in a year, 2 years. For now, cautiously optimistic, but he has a lot to do. If he can do it, welcome to Bill. If he can't, well, then our direction is kind of set that we probably need a rebuild and a more experienced general manager, a Ron Hextall, which was also on the table. A lot of people will say we should have gotten him. We didn't. I feel like he was the obvious candidate, but clearly Greg Leopold thinks that we can compete, which is why I think he went for Bill Guerin, who feels that same way. Do I feel we compete? Probably not, but maybe. But no, not really. So in that aspect, I feel interested in what Bill Guerin has to do. He has a lot to do to make us contenders in the next 2-3 years, but he can pull it off, I feel, if he plays it smart. It's not impossible. Would have liked Hextall more? Initially, yes. Thinking about it a little bit more, we need to eventually break the cycle of just the old boys club that is just the same names coming in. I like seeing a new general manager in the league. I did the same with Fenton, that went terribly wrong. But sometimes that's how you find the gym, testing the new guys, see what they can do. And I feel like he's motivated to go to Minnesota and see what he can do. So, with that said, welcome to Minnesota, Bill. We will be watching closely, but you will have our support in the start. I can guarantee that. So with that said, please tell me in the comments, what did you think? Do you think it's a good move? Should we have gotten Hextall? Should we have gotten Chiarelli? Yeah, no. If anybody says that, I'm blocking you. And should we be excited about the season? And should we be excited about his tenure? Comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.